that Raghuram Rajan has done a good job so far, and would your advice to Narendra Modi be that you must keep him because there's been all this kind of speculative talk about whether he will stay or not stay if there were to be a Narendra Modi-led government?
No, I think the reason why people say that is because under the finance ministry, when he was advisor, he did bring out a report, not of his own choice, but I mean he was asked to do that, which looked at the levels of performance on different dimensions, including many social dimensions. Now that is what I call sometimes, no prejudice intended, the sort of Amartya Sen fallacy, which is confusing levels with change. So Rajan is talking about levels, which is really not where the action should be. And I think really good economists are aware that you should not confuse these two things. I don't think on changes, someone with the caliber of Raghuram and policy, policy expertise is going to confuse that. And I think Narendra Modi will know that. I think one thing I would say also in favor of keeping Raghuram is that if you look at how we Indians have fared in terms of making major international appointments, we've had none practically, because it's not something where we are not really chess players. Other countries, when they want to prepare a candidate, say for the IMF or the WTO, will give them positions like ambassador positions, or if it's the if IMF, then something like governor of the central bank. That gives them the cachet. And then we have a good candidate, you see. But if it's just a brilliant guy, if I may say with immodesty, like myself or Raghuram and so on, nobody's going to pay any attention to us as a candidate for the WTO or for the IMF. But having Raghuram as our fairly successful Reserve Bank governor means he can immediately get into the running. And remember, Mrs. Lagarde, the IMF managing director, is going to be out. And this time around, the next time around, it's very likely going to be somebody from a developing country. And Rajan will be, I think, 50 at that time, if I remember correctly. If he misses it this time, he'll still be 54. This is one guy we have who will be running a major international organization. In my view, we should also groom people like Professor Panagaria and whatever, for the WTO job, which also will be coming up in another few years. But if we don't give them any status, don't groom them, because we are, fighting internally for positions and so on, we will never make it, because we are not like the Chinese. Chinese are so big now and strong that they can just tell the Americans, we want that job, we want that job, and they'll take it. We have to work with the system. And to work with the system, we've got to recognize what works in the system. And what works in the system is credentials. And credentials not scholarly, but non-scholarly. But he is, of course, a major figure. And so I'm all for keeping Raghu, both for him, and for the country, and because we need really people like him in international agencies where our influence will matter.